Hello, everyone. It's December 24th is already here. So tonight it will be Christmas. So let me start off by wishing you all a Merry Christmas. Having said that, I just want to I just want to share my thoughts on a subject that most of us are curious about. It's mind meditation and electromagnetic waves, auras, and scalar waves, uh, and the different dimensions that in the subject of meditation it's often alluded to. So what are some of these different dimensions? I just want to briefly, i'll be uh, I'll be going back and forth because I don't prepare a script. So bear with me. Whichever way that comes to me spontaneously, I will try to say it. But before all that, I want to share a personal thought. I started this channel just for fun, for pleasure, for memorabilia. But something, as the time progressed, something occurred to me. Why am I having simply fun just doing this? I can turn this into something that would become benevolent for a higher cause, right? Do I have money to contribute to uh, a charity such as helpless children who have lost their parents, who have become orphans, for their education, for their welfare? No, I don't have. Maybe I could occasionally, but on a consistent way, I don't have a surplus income. But do you have money? 99% 9 of percent of the viewers would say no, because that's where we are. We don't have surplus income. Most of us live, struggle hard to make ends meet, and including myself. But we can do something collectively. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost you a dime. It doesn't cost me a dime. Just hit the button, hit the subscribe button. I mean, you have to like what I have said to say. I cannot force you, I cannot compel you. But even if you simply hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share the channel, if you share the videos, if you think they are great or they are reasonably good. If I receive 1,500 likes, YouTube algorithm will help us. They will promote this channel so that everybody can see. If everybody is seeing, it eventually become a money or revenue generating channel. All you need is 4,000 watch hours in a given year and 1,000 subscribers. I'm not even there. Uh, I barely have right now 2,003 subscribers, and in a given year I'm just almost like 450 watch hours, 500 watch hours. You need 4,000 watch hours. But also it turns out uh, only about 3% of the channel viewers uh, have subscribed. So almost 97% are just watching or skipping or leaving, no, and without subscribing, without getting involved. So I beseech you to subscribe if you like it, and not just subscribe, hit the like button. Because if we get 1,500 likes, YouTube algorithm will recognize this channel, and when they recognize, they will promote it. When they promote it, everybody can see. Otherwise, the channel will be in oblivion because YouTube has to promote it. That's as far as I understand. So I'll leave it to you. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and share the videos with your friends and acquaintances. Thank you for that. Now let's get to the subject matter. Again, meditation is, in essence, our thought process when it's in standstill state. It is said to be in meditation. Our mind is in meditative state, because it's the inner silence. Silence is the language of God. All else is poor translation. I didn't say that. The well known poet, Persian poet Jalaluddin Rumi, uh, a mystic, and from the Sufi tradition, uh, that's a statement, that's a quotation uh, that I borrowed, right? It was it was attributed to Jalaluddin Rumi, and Jalaluddin Rumi is someone that everybody should read. Uh, Unbelievable. And likewise, Khalil Gibran from the Lebanese tradition, and people like there's so many others. You can, even India, we have Kabir. No, not many people know. When he passed away, the Hindus claimed he's a Hindu saint, and the people from the Islamic tradition claimed is a Muslim saint. So both communities said to have congregated for his funeral. There's so many others you can think of, and there are lot of fakes, a lot of people who conveniently convert this both either it's spirituality or religion uh, into a form of business, because it's a lucrative business, because it taps into the collective consciousness of humanity. Humanity is the collective consciousness. Humanity is what you call, it's immensely powerful. uh, it's the collective consciousness of humanity that rules this world. And I like to say money rules the world. Again, money is a representation of the collective consciousness of humanity. Uh, the best way to explain that is, what is money? It's nothing but printed paper by a central bank of some kind. But what is it though, right? It represents something, certain amount of purchasing power based on something that's said to be precious or useful. In the olden days, it used to be gold, and now things have changed. It's the black gold. So it's the it's the country that has the black gold, which means petroleum, uh, oil and gas, that rules the world. So money is based off, uh, especially the reserve currency. The world's reserve currency is the American dollars that started in 1971 with the American President Richard Nixon, made the American dollar the reserve currency. So all the other currencies of the world is based off American dollars. So talking about collective consciousness, what is this printed paper representing? Something, in essence, a purchasing power. It is nothing but a representation of collective consciousness. In other words, let's say someone tenders the dollar bill to you, and you say, "What is this?" It's $100. So what? It's just money. I want to buy this. It's just you bring some printed paper and you want to buy this, and you if you if you reject it, and not you, everybody rejects it as printed paper, then the money loses value. But we collectively come together, and our collective consciousness accepts it. It's so that printed paper becomes, uh, it acquires a power of its own. So that's an example of collective consciousness. Again, in the democratic world, you have the ballot paper. It is the it is again the indication of our individual uh, consensus, our consciousness. So that's what makes an individual who is a total non-entity an immensely powerful world ruling personality. When we collectively come together and vote for a certain individual, what is voting process? It's our collective consciousness. There's so many examples you can think of. Yeah, even celebrities, a total non-entity suddenly elevated to celebrity status. It could be a movie star, it could be a musician, it could be anybody. Uh, how is that possible? Because it's our collective consciousness. We just watch a movie and everybody like a certain actor, and then we begin to watch. We are elevating him to the highest point of success, and without us collectively, that individual becomes a total non-entity. Otherwise, when we come together, he gets pushed to the limelight, to the very top, and becomes a very powerful individual. And that's how collective consciousness works. So there are, it's collective consciousness and the consensus of the collective consciousness. Consensus is I think it's a Latin term. It's called consensus ad idem, ADIDEM, consensus. It's a Latin term. Often you will, if you had uh, the the basics of the legal studies, you will know the term. So that said, that's what consciousness is about. So if that if you go to a temple, let's say whatever temple, or if you go to Mecca, why is Mecca in so powerful? Because it draws the largest number of devotees or pilgrims, and it's the collective consciousness that makes that place so immensely powerful. It's our collective consciousness. So when you go there, yeah, you benefit because it's uh, it's our collective consciousness we are praying to, and people with their blind delusion, they call it God and so on. It's faith based. Nobody knows what God is. Nobody will ever find out. But more than anything, it's human fiber, it's human weakness, it's human, uh, I suppose, inability to understand and trying to understand the unknowable, and creating something and calling it God. So the concept of God was born in human mind, right? And but then it goes into the what was born out of mind. It becomes it's like the same Frankenstein story. You create something and then you become captive to your creation. So that's what but is there something besides the God is created in human image with human fibers, human frailties. God loves, God hates, God dislikes. God has prejudices. He likes certain things, he doesn't like certain things. So if you kiss up to God, he'll favor you. This is what the humanity is all about. So that is, we are not talking about that. Let the world be deluded as all it want. We are not going there. We don't want to offend anybody. We don't want because 80% of the world is foolish. You can use the 80-20 principle, the Pareto's principle here. So that's how the world goes. It's the 80% of these foolish people, these people who lack insight, and people who lack uh, knowledge is one thing, insight is a different thing. Insight can be knowledge based, they but still it's different. So when people lack insight, they lock themselves to a faith, and they are going to do this. And it is the powerhouses in the world use this religion to control the minds, and it becomes and when you control the mind, you can win their favor, and money rules the world, and God rules the minds, God that we have created. We are not talking about that. We'll go one step above, right? Is there something in this, the entire cosmos that we are we are yet to fully comprehend? May not happen at all, but is there something? Yes, definitely. There are forces that we have discovered. You talk about light, heat, electricity, magnetism, electrostatic waves, and electromagnetic waves. All that's there. So many unknown forces, all prevailing in the same universe that we are part of. But are we connected to these forces? Of course we are. You will see, we see our life revolves around three dimensions. We are in the wakeful state right now. I'm talking, you're listening, right? And that's wakeful state. And then part of our life is spent in the sleeping state. We end of the day, you need to go. Your body needs a rest. You need to sleep. You know, 7, 8, 9 hours, depending on the individual body constitution. So that said, so there is wakeful state, sleeping state, and the dreaming state. And the dreaming state is another. It's connected to the sleeping state, and there are other states, like if someone hits you with a on your hair, hits you with an object on your head, a hard object. Very likely you're going to be you will chances are that you'll become unconsciousness. You will become unconscious. That is also related to sleeping state, and people going going into coma state, all related to sleeping state. But it's uh, you know to make things to for the purpose of uh, discussion or understanding, let's confine well, let's I mean, it wouldn't be wrong to say our life revolves around three states of consciousness: wakeful state, sleeping state, and dreaming state. So, but what holds true in one state of consciousness does not hold true in another state of consciousness. The good example is, let's say you're going to sleep. When you go to sleep, you're tired, end of the day you're sleeping, and then you lapse into the dreaming state. And let's say in your dreaming state, we all have that experience. Sometimes we have nightmares, and nightmares, like for instance, let's say you're having a nightmare, somebody is chasing to kill you. Let's say someone with an deadly weapon, a knife or something, or a gun chasing you. So now you're sprinting, you're running for your life, and see, in that state, that fright is real. Your blood pressure goes up, and your adrenaline keeps pumping, and your circulation, you're sweating, your heart rate goes up. Everything that happens in real life, wakeful state, is happening in that dreaming state. Suddenly you wake up, you snap out of that state, and now you wake up and say, and you were scared, and then you feel awkward, how foolish I am to be so scared. of that was a silly dream, right? So what was true in one state of consciousness does not hold true in another state of consciousness. So that's about consciousness. Three main states of consciousness. Our life is, in a sense, confined to these three states of consciousness. We don't come out of it. We don't elevate ourselves from these three states of consciousness, and we don't even bother to think, or we don't even believe there are higher states of consciousness. Yes, there are higher states of consciousness. Just for instance, the eminent scientist Albert Einstein once stated there is a fourth dimension, and he called it space-time event, right? But besides that, we the see some of these gurus and uh, people who are enlightened, they are they are unable to articulate their experience, and it's it's very individual. But cognitive scientists uh, have become more and are becoming more and more, I guess, increasingly curious. So they have come up with the other dimensions that we are we don't often think about: the emotional dimension, the mental dimension, the ancestral dimension, I suppose, astral dimension, ethereal dimension, polymorphic dimensions, and so on and so forth. Nobody thinks about it. Neither did I until I start reading a bit and listen to people who are experts in their respective fields. Uh, and it helps, but all I can say is I have been meditating for 25 years, and in the last 4 or 5 years, it's been very consistent. Now it's a ritual for me, morning and evening, and the differences the body is going through uh, is simply cannot be explained. Uh, See, the electromagnetic field that our body is part of. The What is electromagnetic field? See, it is electricity and magnetism. When the waves cross, it becomes electromagnetic, sometimes called, otherwise called electrostatic waves. What are electrostatic waves? That's where the beginning of the electronics, birth of electronics, radio, and it's nothing but electrostatic waves. And someone who is in another continent, the signals electrostatic wave frequency, if you are able to tap into, you are able to listen to him or her or whatever. uh, so that's electrostatic electromagnetic waves. See, they say there are electromagnetic waves under the earth, the energy field, right? And when uh, when electromagnetic grids cross, it is said it will result in what is called scalar waves, right? If you They even say in the India, in far eastern countries, uh, especially in India and the countries that are uh, sort of closely related to the Indian Hindu culture, they they have Vastu Shastra, whatever the house has to built a certain way facing east and all that. But in essence, what they're talking about is there a science to it? No, it's you know ages after ages, people have been following, not knowing why they're doing it. So, what it is why they build it. Now it has become more superstition than anything. But there is the originally the basis for that is scalar waves, scientifically looking at it. So, where the electromagnetic grid, when cross the the energy fields, that's where the scalar waves uh, originate. So the scalar waves, if you they say if you build a house on where the scalar waves are present uh, under the surface of the earth, you are bound to experience dangers. In India, they say Vastu Sastram. I think even in Sri Lanka, the even this, I mean, they all practice that, and they, real even when they're selling a house, they say this was built according to the Vastu or whatever. So, but the basis for that is in science, or is said to be uh, the scalar waves. Uh, the other thing I wanted to talk about is in terms of meditation. Like we all carry the electrostatic waves like a small piece of magnet that has electro. I mean, a piece of iron does not become a magnet unless otherwise through a process of induction. So when it's magnetized, it has a field of magnet. So we we are electrostatic reservoirs in our own way, and we have a field of magnetic field around us. That's why sometimes see, when you some people, when you look at them, they have not done anything bad to you, but still something about them repels you because it's their aura, or you know the electrostatic or the electromagnetic field around them. We all have that field, and when you go deeper and deeper into meditation, you would be able to uh, sort of you become more acutely perceptive to the other people's electromagnetic field, and you will know. And in meditation, as I mentioned, meditation is a way of bringing your rampant thoughts. That's the cognitive scientists say in a given 24 hours, an average person thinks about 60,000 thoughts, right? So these rampant thoughts, even if you're silent outwardly, the mind is going wild inside. Its incessant thought process from one thing to the other. So if this thought process can be stilled, in essence, that is meditation. Consider the thought process to a chain. Each thought is comparable to the individual link of a chain. So if it is chain, the link in meditation, when you're breaking the link, because you from this thought to this thought, you're not that the continuum is broken. So when you break, this is a thought, this is a thought, the chain is broken. So what's between the thought is said to be the thinker, and the thinker is your soul. So that's what in a meditation is said to be. There are different kinds of meditation. You could you could use some kind of mantra, which is very common. That's what they advocate in most uh, places when you want to take a class. But what it is if you have a restless child, and you tell the child, listen, you be you be still. No, the child is not going to. A child cannot be uh, you cannot force a child to be still, right? And but you can, a child that's being very unruly and restless, You can make the child sit still by giving him a task. So give him a task and give him a reward. Tell the child, okay, you will get one huge scoop of uh, cup of ice cream or chocolate, but you have to finish this task within the next 1 hour, whatever task. And the child will become still and will be focused. So, mantra meditation is comparable to that. Your mind is rampant and restless. You just repeat a syllable, a word, but make sure it's not a word that coming from a language that you know or speak, because your mind will start thinking of the word, interpreting, and then so your thought process will keep rolling and it becoming incessant. And so that's that. And there is another aspect to it where people do say, when you certain words, they call it mantra because it has a certain beat or frequency to the sound. And they say the word om is coming from the cosmos. If you go sit in your yard or some quiet place and silence your mind and filter the the sounds of the chirping birds and the noise of the flowing water or the river or whatever, sound of the water, and the breeze. You in your mind you keep filtering all this, and in the end, when your mind is focused, there's you can hear the sound om. So that's said to be in the cosmos. So they say it's a mantra. By all means, if that works for you, do it. Otherwise, Jiddu Krishnamurti says to observe your own thoughts. Like an independent observer, observe yourself. What are you thinking? What are you thinking now? And observe and do it. When you observe, it's not easy in the beginning. Sometimes it may takes years. For some people, it all, you know, if you're meant to get it, you'll get it faster than ever. But it's sometimes, I also believe in the astral positions and the line of fate. As I'm getting older and older, beginning to explore the little clues that are available to us about the unknown. So that's there. So all that is there and a lot more, right? It's 33 minutes. I don't believe that I've been speaking about it. I wish I can. I don't know how to condense this. Uh, I suppose we should stop here, uh, and and before doing that, uh, you know, just like you observe your thoughts, you can also observe your breath. Uh, your Not your breath. I'm sorry, your breathing. Uh, and when you observe your breathing, you slowly try to do it before when you go to bed and you'll fall into sleep. It's a good way to go to sleep. And so different methods. uh, I don't know what method I followed, but I just fought to this day. I'm fighting like a warrior. I fight against my own rampant thoughts when I sit still, right? I I like to call it it's the willpower, the will, the battle between the will and the mind. The mind will never listen to the will, but if the will is so strong, eventually it'll control the mind. So that's, I don't know how else to explain that, but I think enough said today. I wish you all the very best, and wish there will be my only wish, the evil in the world should be quelled. and there is good cannot exist without evil, but evil is overwhelming, and the good is becoming weaker and weaker and negligible. The world has become an evil place. I my meditation, my prayer is eliminate the evil that's trying to operate from within and trying to invade my space from outside. So evil from within and out, all right? And so that's what it is. It's too much going on. And see, they say to survive in the street, you got to be street smart. But it looks like to survive in this world, you got to be the world smart. Or the see, the world is so full of deceit, deception. If you open the internet, it's nothing but deception. Everybody's trying to tell, hey, I made millions. You want? I'm going to teach you how to become a millionaire. Yeah, you're such a benevolent soul. You're trying to tell the world how to. You're trying to get rich off us, right? All these companies, billion-dollar corporation. What are they doing, right? And it just as much as I like to uh, not get agitated when I think about these things, it's really aggravating. They're trying to so many things, and the financial establishment ruling, and the politicians are falling prey for what? For greed, greed, uh, and power. Power is the worst form of addiction that has no cure. Any form of addiction has a cure and you can rehabilitate, but the taste of power, you nobody can come out. There is no cure. So that's what's going on. uh, how they are trying to ruin this world. uh, you know, the genetically modified foods. Big people are involved. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. What's the other? What's the other guy? San Santa. What Mana Santa? Some not Santa Claus, but he's another billionaire. These are the richest billionaires in the world. They came to ruin India, and the farmers committed suicide. Helpless farmers. They want to change the world. Do they? Do they eat what they want? What they want us to consume? Yeah, you should feed them f- for the rest of their life. But no, they eat organic food. Bill Gates came to India. Now he's all over Africa, right? They are trying. He has become a big advocate to eliminate poverty, to starvation. He's advocating this. I don't know where this world is going to. It bothers me a great deal, the wars. But like Krishnamurti, Jiddu Krishnamurti said, the world is in you. Sometimes I just like to withdraw from everything and without just focus inside of me, and not the world, let the world take care of itself and let me do what I'm doing. But having said, I will again ask you, if you subscribe to this channel, if you'll hit the like button, and if you share this channel with your friends and acquaintances, we are collectively participating in a greater cause. Want to contribute all the money? I'm sure someday it will happen. It, I want this money, the channel revenue, going to an orphanage, and helpless animals and plants follow suit. Follow suit. And that said, thank you for patiently listening to my long discourses. I wish I can make it concise. Forgive me for my my lacking the ability to make it very precise and direct. Thank you.